Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to our beloved lecturers, Dr. Izwan and Madam Rohana, and my beloved friends. My name is Nurul Alya Najma binti Cik Saipolliza, and today I will be presenting to all of you my final year project entitled Antibiotic Profiles and Biofilm Formation of Acne-causing Bacteria, focusing on Staphylococcus species. For Chapter 1, background study, is the definition of acne, which is a chronic inflammatory skin condition that affects the sebaceous unit or PSU or hair follicles. It can lead to non-inflammatory and inflammatory lesions, mainly on the face, on the chest, and at the back. Bacteria that related to acne are mainly Staphylococcus species and Propionibacteria, but in this final year project, we focus more on Staphylococcus species. Staphylococcus species is a commensal microorganisms on skin and can act as opportunistic pathogen. So the antibiotics that used to treat an infection consist of two, which is oral and topical antibiotics, which mean to manage and treat existing lesions. Topical is for mild to moderate inflammatory acne, while oral is for moderate to severe acne. Biofilm is one of the virulence factor in Staphylococcus causing acne, and it can contribute to the failure of antimicrobial therapy. So the problem statement of this study is the data on the local Staphylococcus causing acne in Malaysia is lacking. In addition, the relationship between local Staphylococcus causing acne and the ability in forming biofilm is also lacking. So these characteristics together with antibiotic profiles of the isolated Staphylococcus will help in providing insights and data into potential treatment strategies and the development of more effective therapies against acne. So for research question, first is to collect the data of Staphylococcus causing acne among UiTM students. Second is what is the antibiotic profile of the isolated acne causing Staphylococcus. Third is to determine the ability of isolated Staphylococcus to form biofilm. And fourth is what is the species of the Staphylococcus causing acne. So the objective of the study is to isolate acne-causing bacteria, focusing on Staphylococcus from individuals with acne. Second, to determine the antibiotic profiles and biofilm forming ability of the isolated Staphylococcus. And finally, to identify selected acne-causing Staphylococcus by 16S rRNA gene sequencing method. The significance of study is provide data on antibiotic profiles and biofilm forming ability of Staphylococcus isolated from acne infection. The data provides a better understanding in management therapy against acne infection that caused by Staphylococcus. For Chapter 2, literature review consists of acne biofilm, incidence of acne causing bacteria in worldwide, and antibiotic treatment for acne. So for acne is, as we know, a skin condition where hair follicles become plugged with oil and dead skin cells, and we have different types of acne such as blackhead, whitehead, pustules, and so on. And for biofilm, it is one of the common virulence factor of Staphylococcus. And there are 5 steps in biofilm formation whereby the bacteria is intact together and form a layer of adhesive structure. So with biofilm, they are more resistant to antibiotics because of their mechanism of action. So for incidence of acne-causing bacteria, this paper concludes that Cutibacterium acnes or Propionibacterium and Staphylococcus aureus are among the common pathogenic microorganisms associated with acne. So for the antibiotic is as we discussed earlier. For the methodology, for objective 1, is the collection and isolation of any samples from individuals with acne infection. We will collect the acne from acne pus and strict on MSA and BHA agar, and then we go through creme staining, coagulase test, catalase test, and we will store the samples in LB bottles with 50% glycerol stock. So for the objective 2, antibiotic profiles and biofilm testing, we perform antibiotic profiles, gentamicin, erythromycin, clindamycin, tetracycline, and cefoxitin. For biofilm testing, we followed the procedure of Weekend, from paper Weekend. So for objective 3, which is molecular identification through PCR amplification of 16S RNA gene sequencing. This objective, we will select the high resistance against the tested antibiotics and the sample that able to form strong biofilm. So we will go through a certain procedures and steps before going to PCR and the sequencing. So for chapter 4, result and discussion. So for first, isolation of acne pus from individuals with acne infection, which is 15 bacterial samples were successfully isolated from acne pus of 4 UiTM students, And the samples were stripped on MSA, BHI agar, and performed gram staining, and here is the result. So it showed 10 of them appeared yellow, where it suspected to be Staphylococcus and will be selected for further tests, while the remaining 5 appeared pink on MSA, which is it is coagulase negative bacteria. So for BHI agar is to obtain pure colony. So the result is 8 of them have golden pigmentation, and 7 of them showed white grayish pigmentation, which is for golden pigmentation resembles Staphylococcus aureus, and white grayish pigmentation resembles presumptive Staphylococcus epidermidis. So for biochemical test, which is coagulase and catalase test, a total 9 isolated bacteria showed clumping, which means coagulase positive, which resembles Staphylococcus species, while 6 of them showed coagulase negative, which are presumptive coagulase negative bacteria. Also, a total of 11 isolated bacteria showed bubble, which are catalase positive that resembles Staphylococcus species, while the remaining 4 samples showed catalase negative, where are no bubble, which are resembles catalase negative bacteria. For antibiotic susceptibility test, uh, 10 bacterial samples were successfully isolated for antibiotic profiles, and the result showed 4 of them are sensitive against all of the antibiotics. All of the presumptive Staphylococcus showed sensitive against gentamicin, erythromycin, and clindamycin. However, 6 of them were found resistant on against zefoxytin, and 1 isolate was resistant against tetracycline. For 6 isolates that were resistant against zefoxytin are classified as MRSA. For biofilm testing, 9 isolates were successfully isolated to perform biofilm testing, and the result showed S4 and S7 able to form moderate biofilm, while S9 and S10 showed weak biofilm formation. However, isolate S2, S3, S5, S6, and S8 showed non-biofilm producer. So this bacteria is involved in acne infection and able to colonize the area and contribute to biofilm formation. So for molecular identification, first we go through DNA extraction, and the result is here, which means the genomic band showed more than 10,000 base pair, and the later in which 500 base pair. Result showed a success DNA extraction, and for PCR, distinct band at around 1,500 pp, which means a successful and specific amplification of 16S RNA gene sequencing. So the band is around at 950 bp. So for the third, for the gene sequencing, I have sent the product to the third party, and I will update the result later. So for conclusion and suggestion, the conclusion is acne-causing bacteria, which is Staphylococcus, has been successfully isolated from individuals with acne. Second, all 10 presumptive Staphylococcus were sensitive against gentamicin, clindamycin, and erythromycin. 4 of them were sensitive to all of the antibiotic, while 6 of them were resistant to zefoxytin, which classified as MRSA. The third, for biofilm, 9 bacteria samples were subjected, and the result showed S4 and S7 is able to form moderate biofilm, while S9, S10 showed weak biofilm, and the other, which is S2, S3, S5, S6, and S8, showed non-biofilm producer. And the fourth, the selected acne-causing bacteria Staphylococcus by 16S rRNA sequencing method is successfully identified. So for the suggestion, my suggestion is we have to analyze all the samples with repeated sample, which means triplicate samples, so the result will be more conclusive. And for second, we need to include proper controls in every experiment to ensure the validity of the result. So for the references, and that's all. Thank you.